Thank you for joining us once again on Daily Politics. This is a program that takes a look at issues around policy, politics, and governance. Of course, I'm sitting in for the regular host, Suleiman, who is indisposed at the moment due to other exigencies of operations. My name is Shafiu Suleiman. And today on the platform, we are still looking at, the eye on the ASO, that is the presidential villa. As we are all aware, as political activities are gathering momentum at the moment, especially ahead of 2023 elections, there has been a number of, aspiration. A number of people have come forward, to declare their interests to vie for the #1 seat in the country, talking about the presidency. And of course, the number is still counting. So far we're talking about 15 or more than 15, personalities, high-profile politicians who have indicated interest. This is coming at the time the ruling APC, which is yet, to convene its national convention, is trying to sort out internal crisis arising from congresses that were held across the country and so on. And even though the party has agreed, the convention planning committee has adopted the February 26th that was slated for the convention of the party. The issue of zoning of the political offices, especially the presidency, remain undecided. And this is also a very potential key issue that could define, the success or otherwise of the convention that is scheduled for 26 February. This is also what is happening across some other political parties, especially the major political parties. The PDP, which is so far, I would say, has done with the convention, conducted it last year. It's still also yet to decide on the zoning issue, which is still defining its trajectory ahead of the 2023 elections. Just like I said, we're looking at those eyeing the #1 seats and the issues around the contests and the framework and the political landscape ahead of 2023. And this evening we have two gentlemen. One is already seated in the studio and will be joining the other via Skype. Here we have Malam Adamu Garba, or Alhaji Adamu Garba, or Comrade Adamu Garba. I don't know which Malam Adamu Garba. Yes, he is a prominent politician, one who has been in the political scene for some time now. He aspired, for the #1 seat, I think in 2019, to be precise. He wanted to slog it out then with President Muhammadu Buhari, who is the incumbent president. Yes, so he's still also eyeing this job, the top job in our country, the presidency. And of course, he's one politician who, because of his, age, so to speak, is also pushing for younger people, to aspire political offices in the country. We will get to hear more from him, especially also with regard to the aspiration and the atmosphere ahead of the elections. We will also be joining Alhaji Ibrahim Hussaini, another APC chieftain, who will be joining us. Is already joining us from Kaduna via Skype. So he will be also giving us his perspective on this journey to 2023, with particular reference to the eye on ASO and the controversial issues around the political party. Thank you for joining us, Alhaji Ibrahim.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Okay, I think we can start. Let's start with you. You've been following trends in the polity, especially with regards to your party, the APC, which many say appear to be in this area at the moment, ahead of the February 26th convention. What's your take, with regards to some of those defining moments, issues that are defining the political party, the APC, at the moment?
Not to say, I'm not. I didn't carry another card this time around when they are doing their new registration, because I'm not too comfortable with what is going on in the party. I decided to have a look and see what's going to be best for Nigeria, and also because I'm running a special political wing. That is called We Together. So maybe that's why I just step away small. So I think it's thought, so instead of you to write APC chieftain for me, it's better you write We Together convener for me, which is my duty for now. Actually, in APC, and why APC is where it is now, is that if you neglect your own constitution, because your constitution is something that you sat and design and also tell the whole world that this is what is going to be your guiding principles. If that's going to be your guiding principles, and also you throw it away just for selfish interests or for other things that are not known to us, not known to people that at that time belongs to the party, and also the people that are in the party, I think that's what is just causing the rancor and also giving the sleepless night for people that want to contest. For actually, party is a vehicle. And if the vehicle, somebody that wants to ride on that vehicle and come to find out that one, there is no driver, the tires are not in good shape, they have not done the service, and the opponent maybe by the other side have a similar, maybe it's a race, have almost everything intact. So nobody will feel so comfortable to jump into that kind of a vehicle to carry him where he wants to go carry him to 2023. So actually, the APC issue actually is just too pathetic. Actually, is a party that Nigerians look up to. It was called as a progressive party. And then when things are called progressive, that means people are there to do things the way it's supposed to be done. And once we see the government and the people and the president himself, it's not giving direction, it's not giving leadership for the party to push forward. And also the caretaker committee, instead of them to just do as the name said, just a caretaker to carry everybody along and set up a system where everybody will feel comfortable to join the party and also aspire to be what they want to be on it. But the party now is tilting toward who is going to have more power on the party, who is going to produce the, what they call it, who is going to produce the chairman, who is going to produce so and so. So that's what is keeping. And on what block are they going to? Because they have divided themselves into different blocks. For example, there is those that are going for, they say, the Tinubu side, others are saying the Cabal side, others are saying the BP side, everybody has its own side. Also, the 3B governors, Buni.
So if I understand your position, Alhaji Ibrahim, the party is actually in this area. Party without a direction, is that what you're saying? Without a driver, and of course, without anyone, to guide it towards coming back to the principles and of course the foundation.
Of course, I think that's why even people like my friend Adamudia, they are finding it very difficult because it's a vehicle that they want to ride to 2020 presidential if he is still going to go on his own ambition. So if the vehicle is still not working, it's still not ready, then actually it's not giving us, it's just giving a hope for anybody that is going to aspire to be on that APC platform.
I understand your position, from what you've been saying so far. Even though you said actually you are registering now, have you deregistered earlier on? And if that is the case, are you considering another platform? Are you considering?
Actually, we have a movement. What we see is that in every party or in every nation, there's supposed to be a block of people that they are not only interested in contesting, but trying to organize something that can work for everybody, so that they can give pressure to this kind of when things are in this area like this, they can come on board. Before in Nigeria, we used to have our NLC, our ASO, or whatever. But we see that politically, we're supposed to have something bigger than that, like the way we see in America and other countries. There's supposed to be a group of young men, committed young men, professionals, that can come together and just organize themselves irrespective of party lines, irrespective of which region you come from, irrespective of religions, those people that believe that we need a better nation and we need a better leadership. These people that can now synchronize and also look at this kind of people that are presenting themselves for presidency and also the parties, so that at least even if people are saying that the small parties don't have structure, how can we come on board, bring ourselves together and create a structure? Because if we have a platform, a movement that have a very good structure from ward level to national level, then it will be an alternative, or will be a force that we can at least make these people to align. Because once they feel that these are only there are only two parties that we have, APC maybe and the PDP, then they will do whatever they want to just give us what we don't want, because on the ballot paper we can only choose from those two parties. But if we can muzzle our point, more especially women and young men in Nigeria, which almost constitute almost 80% of the political voting class, where block. Actually, we can make a difference.
Yeah, talking about structure, if I understand your position, you're talking about a need for a third force, perhaps to challenge the dominant political parties, the PDP and the APC. And you're talking about radical shift now to young people and women and so on and so forth. But if you look at, the task, of coming up with a political party, it is not a day job. You talked about structure, you talk about, all that is needed for the party to gain acceptance even in the first place. And we have less than a year perhaps to the elections and so on. How do you think, any third force could change the narratives?
Actually, there is not even aspect of looking for a third force. We are just looking for even the force itself, because there is no any force that is driving the nation. Because the RFC is a sailing boat. It's supposed to be like a wind that is carrying us somewhere, but there is nothing. So what I'm just saying is that it's not difficult for us to do it. For example, what we are doing now, and we together, is that we are doing a 9 + 5 + 5 formula. The 9 + 5 + 5 is that 9 good people bring 5 people. If you put the number, it's going to give you 54. Then you do another, those 54 will bring 5, it's going to give you 270. What's going to take you to that one? Between me and you next tomorrow, if I said, okay, give me 5 of your friends that you know, give me 5 of your friends that you know, by next tomorrow, we're going to get that 250 at the national level. Then at the national level, we'll break into regional level. From regional level, we'll bring into, till we reach the world level. It's something that in the next two months, we can put up the structure. And this structure is not going to be pay-as-you-go politicians that at least they can go to any party that they want. So these are people that are professionals. These are Nigerians that are angry. For example, look at how many Nigerians do we have that are not in the APC and PDP. Check out the last voting in 2019. Almost 30 million people, only 30 million out of 84 million people voted. So out of that 30 million that voted, I believe you me, only 10%, only 10 million belongs to the party. 20 million just comes to do their civil rights, some come just to collect their small stomach infrastructure for them to make the vote. So what I'm just saying is that we have a pool of almost 70 million Nigerians that are not even interested in politics. Not to talk about the young men that are not they refuse to register. So what we say is that if you want to do this thing with the technology that we have, a small mobile application can design this thing and put everything on it. As of today that I've talked to you, we have already reached the state level. By next week ending, we will reach the local government. By end of
can you hear me?
So it's
yes, a very brilliant idea. Alhaji Ibrahim, talking about the numbers and how you intend to utilize them, technology driven and what have you. But you happen to be one of the people, who sold the APC to Nigerians in the build-up to 2015. You also participated actively even in designing, at that point, if I can remember, the platform where the current president mobilized resources and so on. And all of that didn't work. How do you think now you can, you can do something differently? Because some will say you cannot bring people from the moon, the same Nigerians you're going to work with.
Yeah, we worked with them, and also Nigerians participated seriously during 2015 election, and also we really guided them, and also we had the result, and General Muhammad Buhari won and he's not the president. So if we can do it for somebody, we can still do it for ourselves. For example, right beside you is Adamu Garba. If we can put up all this kind of structure, have somebody with his own caliber and what he knows he can do, we can pursue the party. Even if we are from outside the party, we can pursue the party. Then we tell the party that instead of you to give us an old man, instead of you to give us somebody that is not competent, we are far behind this so person, and we are going to do it. And if we look at and push the network, because the network is not going to be only present. A president cannot change the country. What will change the country is all the structure. We have to get it right from the state level, state house of assembly, state governors, house of assembly, house of senators. We have to get the right people. And what we want to do is that we want to crowdfund ourselves. For example, if we do this structure, 270 people up to what level? We have 8,809 votes. If we multiply it, we have like 2.3 million people. With 2.3 million people, take just 1 million people to give 5,000 naira. We'll be making 5 billion naira every month. If we do it for 5 months, we have 25 billion naira. Then how can we not use our 25 billion naira to get somebody that is younger, can understand what we want to do, and also has a structure that we can give him for him to be president? It's something that is not rocket science because we refuse to try. That's the problem we're having. The young men, we refuse to try. We refuse to do something. We just want to follow. We just want to do, okay, I'm here for so person. I'm here for something. Why can't we be here for ourselves? This is 21st century, and we have the internet, and we can understand the internet. We make best use of it, and we want to do crowdfunding. We have all the payment gateway. Now that we have POS almost everywhere on the street. Putting up money to do what we want to do is going to be very easy. What we need is just give a structure, give a leadership, be very, very transparent, be very, very genuine, and also we communicate. First and first, let's enlighten our people.
How do you, for instance, build a trust? Because it's about trust. People have seen this, they call scam, in 2015. They were able to donate their widow's mite and what have you. And in the end, they didn't see the result. So how do you think you can build that trust among Nigerians to begin to believe even in the first place in the candidate or in somebody aspiring to be able to give that support that you're talking about?
As you said, we are not calling everybody. We say we are calling ourselves. I said me, 9 of us, calling 5 people that we know and explain to them what we want to do. And those 5 people, we become 54. Those 54 of us are all aware of what we want to achieve. And then we say each one of us bring 5. That means you have to go to somebody and talk to him and tell him what we want to do. As that number of 250 that we are going to keep on building. As we reach that level, we have 200 and something thousand people. What I'm saying is by referral. If you go to our website, you see we are bringing people by referral. So it's the people that believe that we first set the agenda with them, then let our activity, let the work we are doing, let how we present ourselves be the what we're going to show the Nigerians to believe in us and also to trust us.
Okay, thank you very much, Ibrahim Hussein, for talking to us on Daily Politics. We appreciate your perspectives. Alaji Adamu Garba is also in the studio, who will digest some of those issues very closely. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Right. Back in the studio, Alaji Adamu Garba, Malam Adamu Garba, you prepare Malam. You've listened to your colleague, a gentleman who together, I'm sure you were in the trenches in the 2015 and so on and so forth. Perhaps getting fed up with the system and thinking that we need a total rejuvenation, a total transformation, a radical shift from where we were. You had, the ideas, what have you. Did you still believe in the system? Because you are in the seat, and then the vehicle to run is the APC at the moment. He talked about what is wrong with the APC in his own perspective. How are you looking at it?
Yes, you see, I really like what he itemized, especially the push and the drive in his energy in the fact that we are going to collect the youths together and do it ourselves. In fact, if there's anything fundamentally that made me to aspire in 2019 was simply because of this. Because we had great hope in the emergence of General Muhammad Buhari and so many other candidates that came under him, the governors and the House of Assembly. But unfortunately, there are a lot of disconnected dots in the way the administration system of the country is going. Meanwhile, if you check other countries, you just compare. you see the way they are growing, and then you compare with your own, you see a lot of gaps. Then you now begin to wonder, what is the problem? So, and that is why after some studies, I now said, maybe, in fact, maybe we need to change the system. And I now came out with 100.
So how can you change the system when you still believe in it and you are running on the same vehicle that Alhaji was saying, talked about, that is faulty?
Yes, the thing is, right, Nigeria, however we want to look at it, it has some historical antecedents to all the action that is taking place today, from the beginning. If you go back to the history of our democracy in Nigeria, and when the First Republic was battered, we have about 3 major political parties. I think the UPP, the MPN, and the NCNC. And even with that combination, they are unable to form a government until we have 2 parties. You have the NCNC and the MPN coming together to form a government, then putting UPP in opposition. And similarly, when you come during the Second Republic, we have the same thing. When you come through the Third Republic, we have NRC and the SDP. When you come through, like maybe the Abacha regime, when he was trying to create political parties, we have about 5 political parties. Eventually, they have to come together to adopt him as a consensus candidate before you have some relative stability. So I kind of believe that it is a 2-party kind of state, however we want to look at it. The third parties always hardly get a chance to actually do the right thing. And all those things are supposed to be bathed around ideological lines. Because if you go back to First Republic, majority of the people in the NCNC and the MPN that makes them to come together actually happens to be conservative. While the UPP are progressives. And these are all ideological driven arrangements. Meanwhile, while we are having our own confluence now, let me use this word, in our party, is because of lack of this ideological boundary. Because ideology is like a boundary. It's like a boundary between Nigeria and Niger. When it is not properly defined, you always have cross-carpeting. Like the way we have some PDP members are angry, they come to APC, and the APC members going to APC. So this is exactly the kind of confusion, because we don't have a standing ideology that guides party administration. And that is why even within the party, if you go back to APC, our own party, it's a formation of some ideologies. Some agreed, some don't agree. But the unity came about because there is a common goal, and that goal is to take over power.
To
take over power. Yes.
But man, I haven't changed, looking at political nature of politics. It's about contestations, actually.
That's very correct.
And that's what makes it even interesting.
That's very correct.
It's about alignment and realignment and so on.
That's very correct.
It happened, just like you narrated, in all the republics, all the experiences we had.
That's very correct.
So, but then the issue within the APC is something, particularly worrisome to many party chieftains, is the fact that, yes, we have different ideologies, different directions, and people coming together. But within, you find people also who are aspiring, I was trying to outstage each other, even from the same political bloc, for instance. Now, let me give you an instance. The leader of the party, talking about Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has clearly indicated, he has even told the president that he's contesting. On the other hand, we see his political protege talking about the vice president, even though he didn't also declare officially, but from the body language and all of that, is also contesting. And then here we are with a president, just like Alhaji Ibrahim has said, who is neither here nor there, is yet to take a direction. He said why he would not, mention who is his prepared candidate and so on. And then we're beginning to see, a rise in the number of people who are aspiring, some within the government cycle. So how do we reconcile all of these issues beyond ideology now?
Yes, that's correct. You see, to me, I think Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is no longer the party leader. He's a presidential aspirant under the APC. The party leader is the president of the country. And as to the contest of the vice president, according to what I learned, is still speculative. Meanwhile, as you rightly said, the body language is pointing out to the fact that he might want to declare.
We're beginning to see consultations.
They're still consulting. Like what we are doing too, we are consulting. Now, if you go and look at the presidents, I believe what the president has done, in as much as we want to see it an indecision or lack of taking ownership, I think it's a kind of a manifestation of highly democratic individual who wants a party to be a party, whereby until you have this kind of chaos, you can't come to a table and agree. As it is now, everybody is defaulting to his original camp. The CPC is going back to CPC. The ACN is going back to ACN. Like in ACN, you have different camps. Now, the AMPP is going back to AMPP. The new PDP is waiting for its own share, you know, and then ABGA, you know, so everybody is defaulting to its own default zone. So we have now kind of a new evolution coming up in the APC. Since this is the first time that the APC took over power, and it is the first time that the APC is transiting power from a sitting president to a new president. With this, naturally we expect a lot of contestations and some games played between the party and the structures. And you know, Nigeria is a very beautiful girl. Everybody will want to chase her, to lead her. You know, some people might not be able to even satisfy her, but some are, but it's likely like that. So maybe it reflects on the beauty and the grandeur of the country. That's how we have this kind of contestation. But eventually, we are coming to the table. What we believe, personally, what I believe is that the convention that has been planned.
Because even the convention, there are controversies around.
A lot of
some felt that it should be. I think we're one of the people that felt it should be postponed.
Actually, I'm calling
for what reasons? Because some say you have to get done with this once and for all. You are like postponing the evil day. If you said, okay, you keep postponing, and in the end,
No, the thing is that you are going to follow through to reconcile the warring parties. Like if you go to Kano, I always say, who is the party chairman in Kano? Who is the legitimate APC chairman in Kano State? What about Kwara? What about Oshun?
But isn't that the role, you know, the Abdullah Adamu committee is actually undertaking? I understand they've submitted, perhaps, or they are to submit their reports today.
I learned that there was a meeting that they were supposed to submit the report today, and they now asked for additional 10 days to be able to finalize the report.
How would that, you know, affect the slated 26?
I want us to look at it. We have on the 14th, based on the timetable that was released, that on the 14th, they are going to swear in the legitimate party chairman for each of the states.
Legitimate. And this was illegitimate.
So that's what I'm saying. So I don't mean the caretaker, I mean the state party chairman. So when we are talking about the state party chairman, and we have like only 4 days to swearing them in, this report might be, they say they needed additional 10 days, which is from now to 10th of February. So now on the 14th of February, we are expected to swear in the legitimate. What is the room for contestation? What about the room for litigations? And we have so many court cases that are pending in different of those states. So what about after maybe swearing a faction in Kwara State that belongs to the governor, and the faction of minister now secure court injunction that guarantees that they are the ones, and after the convention, who is a legitimate voter then in this case?
So another cycle of litigation.
And don't forget, in Anambra and Niger State, Anambra and Zamfara State, we don't even have party congress. There was no congress.
So
if
I understand your position, 26 February is not ideal.
It's not ideal.
Okay, we have to take a break here. In case you're just joining us, the program is Daily Politics, and we are looking at the contest, you know, to the #1 seat, talking about the presidency, Series I on the presidency. And today we have in the studios Alhaji Adamu Garba, Tombalam Adamu Garba, an APC chieftain, and one of the presidential aspirants, one of the youngest among them. We'll talk about, you know, the shift when we return. And before then, we had Alhaji Ibrahim Hussein, who also gave us his perspective via Skype from Kaduna. So in case you're just joining us, the program is Daily Politics, as I said. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
Coronavirus disease, COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus. most people who fall sick with COVID-19 will experience mild to moderate symptoms and recover without special treatment. However, some will become seriously ill and require medical attention. The virus can spread from an infected person's mouth or nose in small liquid particles when they cough, sneeze, speak, sing, or breathe. These particles range from larger respiratory droplets to smaller aerosols. You can be infected by breathing in the virus if you're near someone who has COVID-19 or by touching a contaminated surface and then touching your eyes, nose, or mouth. The virus spreads more easily indoors and in crowded settings. Maintain a safe distance from others at least 2 meters even if they don't appear to be sick. Wear a mask in public, especially indoors or when physical distancing is not possible. Clean your hands often. Use soap and water or an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover your nose and mouth with your bent elbow or a tissue when you cough or sneeze. Stay home if you feel unwell. Get vaccinated. Properly fitted masks can help prevent the spread of the virus from the person wearing the mask to others. Masks alone do not protect against COVID-19 and should be combined with physical distancing and hand hygiene. Protect yourself and others around you by knowing the facts and taking appropriate precautions. Follow advice provided by your local health authority. This message is brought to you by Trust TV.
Thank you very much for staying with us. It's still Daily Politics coming to you live on Trust TV. And today we're looking at the 2023 elections, but with particular focus on the presidency, those aspiring for the #1 job, political job in the country, talking about presidential aspirants who have been emerging, in the last couple of months. Especially within the ruling APC. And today we have one of them here in the studio talking about Malam Adamu Garba. Together we'll be looking at, the atmospheric, that is the prevailing scenarios within the political party itself, and of course, what will define moments ahead of the party's convention slated for the February 26th. Well, before the break, you're raising some concerns, a lot of pessimism with regards to the workability of the February 26th, even though the party said no going back. In fact, they're going on with the calendar. We talk about the submission of the reconciliation report, inauguration of the congresses, state congresses, and so on and so forth, that is coming up. But looking at the general atmosphere, some say we are at a crossroad as a country, that we should treat, the 2023 election not just as an election, but a turning point, because of perhaps these contestations that are gaining momentum and, of course, creating a lot of apprehension within the political space. The Southwest is insisting, it's about time. The Southeast is talking about the Igbo presidency and so on and so forth. Even the North is not giving up. We've seen people coming out to say that there is 4 years that need to be breached, that have been taken by the previous Jonathan administration or so. Even though the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar did not come out to say it, but people around him are saying, okay, give him a chance to aspire for, to rule or to come up for 4 years, perhaps keying into that arrangement. So a lot of contestation, a lot of apprehension within the political space. Do you see us having an election in 2023?
I think there will be election, but I like the fact that you mentioned turning point, because it's actually going to be one of the elections that might never have ever happened in this country. because there is this political consciousness among all the class, between Gen Y down to Gen Z. Every young man wants to understand who is its leader and what is happening. Similarly, even the older population. And we are clearly aware that the Biafran warrior generations, that's those guys that fought the Biafran war, the military uniform men, and the Nadeko generations, which is the Tinubu and Ashua Jews and co that they ruled in different states, they have failed the country. We shouldn't even be able to sugarcoat about it. And they know that. And they know that the current structural arrangement with this country cannot carry out into this 21st century. If it continues this way, the Boko Haram that started in the northeast, we have seen the way it expanded into banditry. All this is a reaction to one thing and one thing only: lack of justice and lack of having resources distributed across the country through the border areas, where we have a structure that I always say that the farther you are from Abuja, the poorer your state is. You know, for those in the south, the farther they are from Lagos, the poorer they are. So when you look at this kind of configuration,
it might not be the same on the same scale if you look at the statistics.
Exactly. So when you look at these things, you find out that there are a lot of things that is yearning. Any country that have shed so much blood of its citizens, by its own citizens, for the sake of protecting its own citizens, this country is coming into a turning point. And this is the situation we find Nigeria today. So it's not like the fault of government or maybe President Muhammadu Buhari alone. It's not also the fault of governors alone. It's the fault of the entire country. It is time for us to rise up and take a decision that is going to transition Nigeria into a new system with a new way, using new set of leadership.
Are you exonerating the political actors? Because
I am never
the belief is
exonerating
that, you know,
yes,
they created the mess, so to speak.
They did actually.
And then they are the ones also feeling some of these tensions that we are seeing in our country, especially the apprehensions that is coming ahead of the 2020.
Yes.
Do you think they played, a very key role in taking us to this point where we are?
They did, but most importantly, we also did, because we decided to let them. You know definitely that somebody who has a thought process 40, 30 years ago can never be the same now. It is like having a child in your own house who is growing up. You find out that the way he attends to computer is very different the way you attend to computer in this modern age. And the entire governance system has been transformed in so many countries. Meanwhile, Nigeria, we are reversing back. So therefore, since we are now in democracy, the people of the country must have to take decision to look at the content of the candidate they are voting, not the party or the people surrounding the candidate or what they can get in their pockets, but the content and the quality of the individual that is presenting himself for a vote. That is the only way we can push forward away from the situation we are finding ourselves now to the new situation that is going to better the lot of Nigerians.
Yeah, we're beginning to see, you know, the pendulum swing in that direction, for instance.
Yes.
We're beginning to see political parties, even though they're yet to decide, but ultimately, perhaps they would decide to throw the contest open.
Yes.
The APC and the PDP alike. The issue of zoning, which is, you know, one critical decision that has to be taken, will define that moment. And if that happens, perhaps some would say we are beginning to see a paradigm shift, you know, in terms of who takes what. We're now looking at merit. Perhaps meritocracy would now take effect, you know, as against the parochial interest, you know, the zoning and what have you. It has to be zoned to my region, microzone to my, and so on and so forth. Do you see, how do you think this will play out in the coming days?
Yes, the thing is, zoning, I think, is an arrangement of the elite. And you know, the country is a sharing formula country from the beginning. Whoever takes this share this time, the next time the other guys will now take their own share. So it has been a sharing formula. Abolition of zoning, whether the elite decided to do it or not, I don't believe we younger population or younger generation believe in anything other than meritocracy. And the merit must be more into understanding what Nigeria is and how it can transform from what it is today to what it should be. Because we don't believe Nigeria is supposed to be a kind of a politically charged atmosphere. It was supposed to be an economically integrated unit. If you go back to even since the colonial masters, what they came to exploit in Nigeria was the economic potentials, not our politics. And when they are pulling out, they tell us very clearly that they want to control the economy and cede some political power to us. Now that we have taken control of the economy, it is important for us to reverse back to what Nigeria used to be, which is an economically integrated.
Are we not still economically dependent?
Yeah, we might be economically dependent when it comes to international assets, but it's not the way it used to be, where the 100% of the economy is out. Now we have laws, we have governance, we have acts, we have bills that are powering the way our assets is being exploited in Nigeria. But of course, because of some shady arrangement that is being made between some political actors now and the international community, these resources are denied access by mass majority of Nigerians. So all you need to do, like I always give reference to NNPC, I don't believe it should be just Nigeria Limited. It is like a private liability company, although owned by government, but it shouldn't be private liability company. It should be publicly listed. What is wrong in listing NNPC on global stock exchange? So that every human being in every place of the world can have a stake in it. Because what we need from NNPC is the dollar to be able to power our infrastructure plan and expand and grow the economy so that we can be able to transit away from the poverty that we are today and transform our lives into far better citizenry. We need more dollars to come into the economy. Now, if you ask the government, why are we not building X and Y? They will tell you that there is not enough dollars. And in National Assembly,
you know, we're throwing money into repairs. We're spending money to repair already moribund, refineries.
Yes, I don't know. You see, refinery, I really don't see even refinery as a very strategic investment. People are shouting that we should have refinery in Nigeria. This is a global supply chain world. In fact, sometimes it's like if you look at the calculation, it is you have only 2% differences between refining from outside the country and refining into the country. And if you look at the total amount of jobs created by the fossil fuel industry in Nigeria or in any country where fossil fuel is the main driver of the economy, let's say Saudi Arabia, for instance, with Aramco, or maybe Russia, Russian total number of employees in the entire oil and gas industry are 1.1 million people. So it doesn't really give the jobs we think about. Like in Nigeria, I think when you look at both the public sector and the private sector, the combination of the jobs that is created as a result of oil from exploration to pump is less than 250,000 people. So that is not the area where we should pay attention to.
Yeah,
we should
it's
move
not to our advantage.
It is not to our advantage. We should move and expand our manufacturing base. We should reverse back to industrialized country, whereby a single tomato that we farm can be able to create at least 5 jobs. That is where you get opportunity, not in fossil fuel. Give the fossil fuel to international market, get more money, then you.
But how do we realize all of this with the kind of political economy we have at the moment? You know, where largely production is in the hands of the government, and we were talking about a privately driven economy.
Yes.
So all of this would have to come to play for us to change the narrative in this direction.
Yes, like in Nigeria, we can, it's good to privatize. I personally am a capitalist and I believe in privatization. But in a third world economy, there is no country in the world and among the third world countries that have grown without what is called mission economy. There must be a mission from the policy makers to implementation and then the private sector inclusion. You must be able to set it as an agenda to drive for a particular purpose. Let's assume that you want to tackle inflation, which is one of our major problems in Nigeria.
Food inflation in particular.
Inflation, for instance, both food inflation and general inflation in the system. How are you going to tackle that? You will tackle inflation by ensuring that you have efficient, effective, and available transportation infrastructure. When people can convey their goods from villages to town very easily, cheaply, you see, you'll find out that the cost of goods is going to be cheaper and the cost of service to deliver the goods itself is going to be cheaper and more money in the pockets of ordinary citizens because they don't spend more. So when you look at these kind of things, you have to arrange it. China, South Korea, Thailand, in fact, currently Indonesia and even Bangladesh are doing mission economy model. You have to arrange it as a government that this is my mission and my mission is to make sure that we transit away from poverty, or maybe per capita GDP per citizen per day should be at least $10 a day. But how am I going to drive this? By creating a mission where you have policy, implementation of the policy, and private sector partnership to be able to drive it to the reasonable conclusion. But if you leave everything in the hands of the private sector, the only thing they think about is in their pocket. Look at what is happening now with the discourse. We privatize discourse. Currently, I saw from Embed that there is about 326 billion naira that the discourse are owing government. So you see this kind of problem because
very brilliant ideas, Garba. But then, coming back to the political scenario, because all of this would have to, I mean, there must be a framework for all of this to be achieved or to be galvanized. And here we are talking about getting the political party system right, internal party democracy that will usher in the kind of leadership that we want. And today, we're also concerned about, you know, the continuous monetization, if you like, monetization of the polity. We're beginning to see the gladiators coming out. These are people who are with a deep pocket, so to speak. And people like you who are aspiring with all the ideas and perhaps the cutting edge, you know, experience and what have you, might not be able to get there if we don't get the system right. So how do you think we can get, you know, the political parties first, sanitize them and make them viable and of course, create that level playing environment for people to aspire?
Frankly speaking, I would want to put that on the conscience of the media. The media should be able to probe whoever is a political gladiator as to source of his wealth. You can't come and tell me that you are spending billions, like 5 billion naira per state because you want to win the presidency. How did you source for this money? What is your job, even if you are a president? Which company in Nigeria can afford to pay you 5 billion naira in the whole of lifetime that you live? So these are the things we need to do. So the media should properly interrogate these candidates so that Nigerians can know who they are. If media interrogated these candidates very, very well, I'm telling you, even the conscience of the people of the street will change. Because the problem is that we ask them, most of the ordinary people only listen to the songs about them that is being played, and they now hired people that go to radio station and whitewash them. And when they bring some money, they just forget about everything and vote for them because they tell them that they are good people. Meanwhile, they are not properly interrogated. How are you going to fix education sector? How are you going to bring about health? How are you going to bring about job? How are you going to enable jobs? What is your plan and policy in terms of this renewable energy or green industrial revolution that we're going into? What are your plans regarding farming? What is your plan regarding manufacturing? What is your plan regarding... So they have to answer, and they also have to answer the source of their wealth. If the media started interrogating them this way, they will be afraid of bringing money out, and people like us can be able to emerge.
Okay, talking about the media, but the media alone cannot do it. You know, we have the institutions that are saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that the guidelines are followed. We have these guidelines in terms of spendings, political spendings. But Shafiu, the INEC, you know, the EFCC are there to monitor all of this.
I agree with you, but Shafiu, right? You see, Nigeria, what works faster is actually media judgment. Media judgment works faster than the court rulings. Once somebody has been identified for who he is and his sources of income are properly digested and made open. Because you can't come and say you want to be a president of my country and I don't know the sources of your income. I have to see your book, I have to see your asset declaration, and you have to make it public. And every investigative journalist should investigate and see that that is actually what is your asset. Anything that is connected to this, then there's a problem. And the mode of your spending should also be properly monitored. INEC should be empowered. The media should interrogate the empowerment of INEC regarding these things so that we can get it right.
Okay, that's that. Okay, talking about also the recruitment procedure and the processes, you know, the electoral laws and what have you. Getting them right is also very important. Here we are with the National Assembly repackaging or, you know, revisiting the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, taking it back to the President for assent and what have you. There are far-reaching recommendations there that Nigerians want to see come to fruition. What's your take on that as we package?
Yeah, frankly, what the direct primary election was actually what I went for. You know, but of course there are a lot of confusion that some people say that we have to do indirect because of logistics and all those kind of things. But there is a way I look at the direct primary. It has to be democratized. But there is a way you look at it. That's why it's important to have a mission economy. Let me land there. You see, election is an industry. I know election is an industry.
Yes.
Each polling unit, if you are going to conduct direct primaries, there are a lot of monies. About this 500 billion that INEC is budgeting is going to go to each polling unit, meaning each street is going to benefit from direct primaries. That means you have created another economy. So why can't you just push, at least, it's better than empower to the base of money, because people will work to be able to contribute to electoral process, and then you also have direct and most democratic primary election. Okay. But I agree that we need all the options to be on the table.
Okay, thank you very much, Malam Adamu Garba, for talking to us on Daily Politics. We really appreciate your perspectives. I also wish you well ahead of the convention, of course, subsequent engagements. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So in case you're just joining us, this is where we come to the end of today's Daily Politics. And it has been coming to you live on Trust TV. I had Malam Adamu Garba and of course Laji Ibrahim Hussain on the platform this evening. And together we'll be looking at the road perhaps to 2023 with particular focus on the presidency, talking about the presidential contest. As I said earlier on, a number of political gladiators have indicated interest to aspire for the #1 seat, and the number keep rising. So we're looking at the issues ahead of the elections and of course the convention, especially of the ruling APC. On this note, we come to the end of the program. My name is Shafiul Suleiman. Do have yourself a wonderful time ahead.